Hi everyone. Today is December 3rd. This is the SIG Compute weekly meeting. You can find the document in the meeting invite. I'll also paste it in the chat here. Please add your name as an attendee. And it looks like we have a new member that would like to introduce themselves. So please go ahead.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Peña Garcia, and during the last months, I've been playing around with Cupid and VDPA, trying to integrate this technology into Cupid, and things kind of took me to this meeting, but I will be talking about that a little bit later. So yeah, hello everyone. Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Yeah, so we will look at your web first. I don't see anything in the agenda, so I guess we
Okay.
can jump right to it. Do you want to maybe share your screen to show the web or the code or both?
Um, I don't know. I can just introduce it just from a general perspective, and we could discuss it because maybe if we go through the web, then we might get a little bit lost. Not sure. Just as you prefer, but um, the web is about setting the memory lock limits in the Beard Launcher Pro. So there are some devices that are currently supported, such as SRIOV network devices, and there are other safety cases, just SEV, I think, and real-time guests that require locking memory so the guest can actually perform correctly. And what you have to do from the beard launcher, well, the beard handler, sorry, needs to set some limits above what Leopard expects. So Leopard doesn't fail trying to set new memory lock limits, since it doesn't have like the needed permissions to do that. VDPA is one of those cases, but the problem is that right now is really fixed into certain cases, like those three cases that I mentioned before. And there is not a way in which, well, users or other mechanisms can kind of point out whether memory lock limits need to be updated or not. And not sure if I already mentioned that VDPA devices are one of them. Yeah, Vladik.
I don't know. I was wondering this VDPA. How are you bringing it into KubeVirt? How
through
KubeVirt
through
knows about?
an through a network binden plugin.
Oh,
Yep. So as it's kind of out of the tree in some sort of way, that there is no way of knowing whether it's VDPA or other kind of device, and set those limits accordingly. That's the tricky part of it.
Yeah, but in order for you to bring it in, you also need to annotate the pod, so it will request the resource, right? Not exactly annotate, but you need to request the resource. How, right?
For the VDPA device, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to. But then, what would you do from the beer handler perspective to know whether thing that is into the annotations is actually a VDPA device or not. Like you will be like inserting some kind of VDPA device specifics when we want it in the beginning, just try to get it outside of Qbert, right? Like just a network binding plugin that is outside of the core source code, right?
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the way it works today is that Qbert recognized that we are, so there's this function that we calculate the overhead with, and then in that function we know that, for example, actually no, I'm wrong. We just know which devices require PR limit just by
That's
looking
it.
at the VMI spec. Yeah. So then for VFIO and for SCV, we know that we need to do this. And here we have no indication of knowing that. So we could somehow extend this by using maybe annotation or something like that to allow your use case. But I mean, ideally, how do you see this? How do you envision these devices being part of Qbert natively, or it will never be part of Qbert natively?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like I was trying to use the network binding plugin thing. This that was pretty much the point of it, right? Trying to have those things like new network interface implementations, just like
Yeah,
outside of actual Qbert, right? So that was my main idea. But
I hear
yeah,
you. Yeah, I totally get this concept, and we need to work on a better kind of a representation of plugins in general. But I mean, the problem right now is that the plugins are viewed as today as some kind of a unprivileged operation and untrusted. Like you do something on the Vert launcher side, and the Vert launcher is untrusted component. And now you're basically also asking me to do something privileged on the node side, which I don't think that this was ever the intent. So yeah, so I mean, but I would say that maybe what we need to do is to have an annotation on the VMI saying that okay, I'm using a VDPA, and please allow me consider this is a VDPA device in there, and this way I could extend the word handler side.
Okay, and just going through like into that approach that you're defining, like that wouldn't be like VDPA specific, right? Like it should be something like more general that even other kind of devices, not just limited to network devices, could also use to require whatever memory lock limit needs that they could have, right?
Yeah,
Like that would be the idea of it.
right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there must be something generic that's saying that okay, this VM requires its memory
Okay.
limit. Yeah, I agree with this. I'm not sure how to express this right now, but I don't want this to come from a network plugin. I think this needs to come from the VMI object.
What about, like, for example, a web, like an admission webhook that would actually do like that trick of adding the annotation if it detects that it's related to X thing, for example, would that kind of fit in? I mean, I can rephrase the whole web and just discuss it there. That's the whole point of it, right? But just
I agree that we need something generic. I definitely agree with this. I'm not entirely sure how to express this, but I agree
yeah,
that
okay.
it's needed.
we could discuss it offline or even in the issue itself. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Near, you had your hand raised, but
Near, can you hear us? Otherwise, Ed, you want to go?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I was on
Oh,
mute.
okay.
So I've been going over the VEP and I understood something along the lines that Vladik just indicated, that the bottom line is that we currently we have no way in the API to indicate anything regarding the R limits. We have the way that we calculate our R limits, and the user cannot affect it in any way. And I think that it's a generic problem and not related to necessarily to VDPA. And the other question that I wanted to ask Benyan was how is the interface configured, the VDPA interface configured? Because usually we use network binding plugins when we need a special configuration for the domain XML for the interface. So my question is, what network binding would you use if you're not using a network binding plugin? Do you still need a network binding plugin, or can you use? I mean, you can't use the bridge binding, I guess, or something like that. What binding do you use?
no, I'm using just like a whole new network binding plugin that is actually taking some information from the downward API annotation. There is one path there to the vHost VDPA device, and that has to be put into the domain XML in the right place. So
So you're
it's like
gonna need a plugin anyway.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Daniel, you have the next point.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to get some attention regarding this backport of mine. The backport is of peer that was merged into kubertmain. It rejects a stop command if the virtual machine instance is already paused. And it was merged in main, and when I wanted to backward it to KVirt 1.7, I got rejected that the implementation uh, is raceful, and we should avoid writing raceful code in the Virt API endpoints. So that's something I wanted to raise because most of the Virt API endpoints are performing some Virt client commands like fetching the VMI, looking at the VMI spec and status to determine what's the state, which does look similar to webhook kind of validations and stuff. What are our intentions? Is there any alternative to implement the stop operations? Because stop operations are not communicating directly with virt handler. They are modifying the resources spec. And there's the alternative way was to propagate that stop operation directly into virt handler and see if there are any errors. And we can't really do that. So there are two issues here. One is the endpoints, which are quite raceful, and the other issue is that we can't really have any alternative way to implement our stuff. So what do you guys think we should do? Eddie, you were the main one to reject the backport, so if you have anything to add over what I said.
No, I think the only thing that can be done here is to is to reject it at the place that you already know the information for sure and not so early. If you reject it here, it's looks unreliable, and I mean, at least even if you reject it here, it's not enough. You need to take care of it very close to where you use it, which then it sounds very weird.
I have a question. I didn't look too deep into the code, so and I'm sorry for this. But my question here is, I mean, why can't this be declarative? I mean, in many cases, we change the status, and we're trying. I mean, we change the spec to be something that we want. But then, if we didn't manage to reach that state, I mean, we either put it in vent or we raise a condition on that object. Why can't this be done here?
I think it can be done, but here, I think what happens here is that it's a generic problem, and this one only showed that it exists all over the place in this area. This is the webhook, right? So you get a request or a desired state, and it checks against the status or like the conditions. But the condition are not real time. The condition, for example, you are checking now if something is valid. In the meantime, it could have already changed, but it didn't got updated, so it's wrong. So you could either pass this check and assume that everything is okay, but it is not really okay, or you can reject it, but after one millisecond later, it could be okay. So that's the problem, that the validation was done here. If
Yeah,
the
but
check would have been done as a reconciliation, then it will work with exactly what you said.
so I mean, we could do the reconciliation, but I mean, even if looking at this right now, I mean, sure. What is the worst case? The worst case is that the user will have to shut down again, like a request a shutdown again with this approach.
Which one? No, I think. What do you mean?
With the current one, I'm speaking about
This
the
one. This
yes.
one. It may go in, right? It's like, okay, this one fixed, if I understood correctly, please, Daniel, please correct me. This one says if I'm sending a stop now, I'm checking here, and I can tell you that you are wrong. You are trying to do something, but it's still not, you already started it, or it's not in the correct state that I can do the stop, right? But if the condition is not there, then it will continue on, and then the same problem will exist. The attempt here was to fix something, but it's not really fixing it in all cases. It's like fixing for 98% of the case or 99%, but it doesn't fix it for correctly. That's the point, I guess.
So what you're saying is that the user will put stop before the pause was in place.
Reflected, yes. For example, it's a classic race, right? It's a
Yeah, I mean, ideally, this should be declarative. But the problem here is with the declarative is that I mean, controllers are also racist, so it could be all kind of different things. But yeah. I mean, normally, you raise conditions so other controllers could react to this. So there could be another controller that's sending stop based on and then react based on that condition. So yeah, I don't know.
yes, but that's controller, and the controller is reconciling, so it can fix itself. But this one is not. It's not. You are depending on the webhook,
Yeah.
the admission controller to do it, and that's the problem. If it was a controller that retries it or tries to do it and gets some messages, then it can fix itself. It can detect the problem and then tell the user, okay, you cannot do it, or something like that. But it's part
Yeah,
of his reconciliation.
sure. Yeah, we have the same problem with the migration that we reject an existing migration. Like we reject migration based on existing migration. Yeah, but is there a way to do it um, to do it declarative, Daniel?
Yeah, is there a way to do it inside the controller?
Yeah, declarative.
Yes, but the users, if we reject, we can probably log that the operation was rejected, but users would have to explicitly check the logs to understand why their VM wasn't stopped.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, the VM controller could place a condition.
Ah, okay. So yeah, it can be done in the controller, I guess. Sure.
Still, I agree with Daniel that when you use virtcuddle, for example, and you request to stop a paused VM, it would be nice if right there you got a message, nope, can't do that, it's paused. Can't we do both? Like um, reject here and then in reconcile. That way, if if you get a rejection right there and the VM was just getting unpaused, then you just call it again and it will work. And in the opposite case, when it goes through when it shouldn't have, it will be caught by the reconciler, and that way we get the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah,
any sense?
yeah. Because we have this with the migration, and that's with migration. It's important from my point of view because all kind of hot log operations um, and things like this. So from my view, I wouldn't object both, but I think Eddie has an opinion.
Yeah, it's like I guess I was infected by someone else dislike of admission controller things like this. So I think I don't understand why you think it's okay because it's not okay. If you take the you could reverse the order and you'll see it will just do wrong things. Like
Like what?
you can say I want to stop it, right? And actually it is now in practice it is already paused, but it's not reflected yet, right? So the vircutter command will pass on and everything is fine, and you will have the problem, right? And you are saying the other case is that you will see the condition of paused already and you will reject it, but that could be the same issue. Like you can see the pause, but it's not really paused now. It's a lie. It's like and in general you are creating an imperative operation on the machine on the or system instead of saying I want to stop it. Eventually I want to stop it. So I want eventually to stop it. Why are you causing me to work in an imperative manner?
Start and stop. They are with sub-resource, right?
Yeah, but the sub resource is, and we have a lot of cases like this. The sub resource is translating an imperative request into a declarative request, usually. Like the migration is a good example, right? It usually this is what it does. It uh,
I don't know if migration is a good
translates
example.
what?
I don't know if migration is a good example. Migration is more complex, but here the problem is that you're already hinting that this is like imperative with the sub resource. I get what you're saying. I just don't know like what is the worst case.
Okay,
What
so for this specific case, I will say that it's just not really solving the problem in the end. It's like solving most of the cases. Like in most of the cases, this will be correct, but in some edge cases, this will not work as expected, and you will still have the original problem. That's it. And I don't understand why do we care really about I feel I don't understand why we should care about the immediate response. I mean, because the system is declarative, even if we do operations that are in their nature imperative, they are still consider our system is able to reconcile, so eventually to reach that state. But again, I'm you know this better than me, so
Well,
maybe if you want to keep it, then fine.
we're not gonna keep the stop request forever and run it whenever we can, because like imagine your VM is paused and you request it to stop and you can't because it's paused. If it unpauses an hour later, it's gonna get shut down and you won't expect that. So I don't know.
I think we need to look at the, from the worst case, like what are the bad things that can happen here from both sides.
Yeah. Daniel, I'd suggest to maybe reopen this and keep the discussion going.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. And we're just about at time. So we're not gonna look at VEPs, but there's a link in the document right there. Please have a look. Vladik actually listed a few that are concerning in the community meeting document. So please have a look and update what you can. And yeah, does anybody has any last words to say? All right, guys. Uh, the meeting is over. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Thank you.